When I first started off in the UK as a caregiver, I didn't fully understand the weight that references do carry. I just thought it was just about the shifts that you covered, the training that you had, and the hard work that you put in, until it came to a point when I needed references and I couldn't get them. So I just thought, well, everything for me was centered around the hours that I would put in. I never had experienced the power of references and who references you until I needed them. So a big welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florence, and on this platform we do talk about life in the diaspora, life abroad, and as a caregiver with 4 years experience in the UK, I do share that journey and how to career progression, opportunities, and how to leverage on in this career and leverage on opportunities basically. So a big welcome. Let's get right into the crux of the matter, which is the importance of references, how references unlock opportunities for you. Because remember, we came to the country for opportunities. We always referred to the diaspora as the land of opportunities, but it takes certain things like references for you to really start to realize those opportunities. And I've started to realize that. One of the big examples that I do have when it comes to reference is when you see people with similar experience, similar exposure, similar skills and training go into different opportunities, just the only difference being the references, who references them, what is said in that reference, and where that reference is coming from. I've been around a while. I've done domiciliary care work. I've done complex care support. I've worked in the NHS, and it's been amazing. It's been brilliant. But I cannot just attribute all of that to my hard work and my own doing and strategy, but I attribute it to the people that have been referencing me, people that have seen what I do, people that do see the best in me and put that in writing to say, you know what, we are putting 2 ticks on this person, and it has opened amazing doors, amazing opportunities, which is why I thought, you know what, I'll talk about today. Part and parcel of why I've decided to talk about references is because I do get a lot of questions on here and on my Facebook and TikTok as well. We are on there, and we are running a subscription page on Facebook where if you go and subscribe on my Facebook, you get a chance to really speak to me face one-to-one, and I'll give you support and guidance, be it with your NHS application, job applications, your CV, your personal statement. We do all of that, and a bit of career guidance and sharing other intimate details of the journey. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please do go and subscribe, and we can't wait to speak to you. One of the things that I've realized, especially with migrant or overseas care workers and support workers, they believe like you collect reference. I beg to differ. I believe that you build references, and you build them through consistency in your attitude, professionalism, documentation, respect for care plans, attention to detail, because this job is a structured job. It's a person-centered job, really. It's a job that is centered around your way of delivering, your attitude, and how it will contribute to the overall quality of care that you give to the people that you serve. So it's not just about you putting in the hours. It's what you do when you're on shift. It's the attitude that you give, the consistency of it, reliability. All of those things do contribute to this. And in this industry, one strong reference can really move you from a low earner to a high earner. One single strong reference can move you from one sector into another. And so it's not only just about skill and training. I've come across people that do ask me and say, you know what, I'm wanting to apply into this sector, but I don't know whether or not my employer will give me a reference. What should I do? I've just done a video where I spoke about how I did 4 jobs within 1 year, and 3 of them were not sponsored. I still kept my sponsorship job, but the other 3 was my way and my strategy of building a reference portfolio, experience portfolio altogether, and that has worked for me. So if you're worried about how you're gonna earn these references or how you're gonna get these references, that is one strategy that works. And I always say to people, you know what, I find it a bit embarrassing to say 4 years down the line, if I'm asked for references, yes, I do love and prefer to put my character reference from people that I've worked with when I was overseas, people that have known me for ages. When it comes to professional references now, I've built a portfolio where I'm now basing it entirely on my UK experience, because that will give a true reflection of how far I've come as a professional, how far I've come as a support worker, how I'm building towards the professional that I want to be. So a lot of people would ask me to say, how would you really make sure that when did all these strategies really come about? I do remember one time when I was still in domiciliary and I'd seen a job that I really liked, and this was in a care home, one of these very big organizations that runs care homes across the country. Part and parcel of why I had picked that one in particular is I had really started to like it in care homes, and I thought, well, you know what, if I join this organization, it will be easier for me to, even if I want to move across cities, across parts of the different parts of the United Kingdom, this organization is spread through. So I applied to that job, I got that job, and initially, remember, I didn't want to just go all in like with sponsorship. I applied for the 20 hours, but I was looking for a permanent second job. So I do remember the conversation that I had with my current manager then. I was so upfront with them. I told them, you found this job and I'm just wanting to build my experience portfolio. I want to the different of the industry, which is fair and fine. I said, well, will you be okay if I put you down as my reference? They were like, well, yeah, we're okay. But fast forward, I got a phone call of the prospective care home that I wanted to work for 20 hours, and they said, we've spoken to a few references, and part of the things that they've said is that you don't need the job. I'm glad they said that. They didn't say bad things about me. They didn't give a bad reference, but they said, no, she doesn't need that job. We do have so many hours for her. It's only now that I keep thinking about it. At that time when I got that, I was really curious. I was like, could they do this after the conversation that we had? But I've sat down with myself for many times reflecting on that conversation that I had, because they totally told me, well, it's unfortunate we can't go ahead with this. So I sat down with myself. I was like, well, what could have prompted for them to say this? But you know what? The good side of it is that became the fuel to me really looking religiously and diligently for jobs across the sector, second jobs, permanent jobs. Why? I thought, well, if I was that bad, they wouldn't have said they don't want me to go and work for somebody else. So there must be something that I'm doing right. So it's not always when you are declined a reference by your current employer that it's a bad thing, but build on that and say, is it that they see in me every day? Because the thing with these employers is they never want to lose the good ones. I must blow my own trumpet there. I must blow my own vuvuzela. They allow me to, because it was then that I knew I must be doing something right. I must be one of those few that they don't want to lose. So much so that they know the moment that I go and do this 20 hours at this particular organization, I'm gone. So I kept my cool. I didn't confront my employer, but I started building on that experience. And also part and parcel of what drove me from that conversation, from that little tiny incident, was the fact that, yes, fine, I wanted to go to this employer for 20 hours. But imagine if it was an employer that I really needed to go to, and they need my current employer reference and they can't give. Sometimes you have to experience these things for yourself. Sometimes you have to go through that process for you to have a clear view, a clear vision of the steps that you need to take. Because I've come across people that have switched, which is kudos to them. I love that loyalty. I love that level of commitment to one organization. But I'm always thinking based on that experience to say, it come to that point, and we're living in that era where a lot of sponsoring organizations are losing their sponsor licenses. What if one day your current employer loses their license and you need to move to another employer? Would they be able to give you a reference? Or what if one day you come across an opportunity that you really cannot let go and you really need that employer reference? Would they give you? For me, it was easier for my first job, especially when I joined the agency, because that was in the early phases of people coming to the country. So it was easy for me to say got references from overseas and they were acceptable. But it's so difficult 3-4 years into this job, 3-4 years into living in the UK, for you to say I'll submit references from overseas. Most organizations want references from 2 years back, 3 years back, not from 5 years back. So it's something that if you're watching this video and you're in this industry, you need to start thinking about. I've seen people who have lost opportunities based on their failure to provide these references. So it's about time that people need to start about it. Of course, I think I will share in a separate video of how I presented my references from the NHS. I love that story. It's a story that I've shared with a few people, especially those in my Facebook subscription, because in that subscription we really bear it all, because it's so intimate, it's so personalized, it's so one-to-one, because you're getting to ask me all the questions that you have about my journey, about my experiences in the UK. So I love it and I bear it all. So if you're watching this video and you're a migrant caregiver for that matter, and you really do want to connect and have questions about my journey as a caregiver, Facebook subscription, and you get access to us and we'll talk about it all. So references are quite important, and references are built over time, are a way of really showing credibility. I know a lot of people would say, well, you can provide pay slips. It's not just about saying I worked for this organization. It's about a reflection of how you worked. You were working. Some organizations are quite strict about what they want in those references. I know some people would say, well, I'll just provide a pay slip. I can provide maybe testimonials from, I don't know how that would work really, but I would still say work on those references. If you don't want to miss opportunities, credible opportunities, huge opportunities, work on your reference portfolio. As you're working in your organization, you're working not only you. The good thing about these references is they don't necessarily have to come from your manager or your direct supervisor. There could be other colleagues in senior management, in other positions, supervisors. There could be externals. I'll give you an example to say, when I the NHS, you get to interact with people from other departments. It could be from the physio team, it could be from the therapy team, it could be other departments. So you're not limited to getting your reference from your direct manager or your direct supervisor. It could be a senior colleague, it could be a supervisor, it could be the deputy manager. Just build that portfolio before you leave any job or as you are working. Make those meaningful connections. I always talk about networking, building your network, gain people that you can quickly talk to when the time comes and you need a reference, and you just go like, well, would you mind being my referee? That in mind as you're working, because that again will guide your demeanor, your professional conduct as you're working, because you're not just working for the money, but I'm also working to build a reputation, to build your reference portfolio. I would want for people to actually attest to my professional conduct, I work as a professional. So it's very important that we put thought into these things if you're wanting to progress. I've been in places, I know when I got the specialist support worker role, which became became one job that I always use as my current employer. It was references from the care homes that I worked with when I was with the agency. So I do encourage people to do that. Another way as well of building these references, if you are working in the country, go and volunteer in the NHS. Volunteering in charity organization, it's a huge way. Our visa allows us to volunteer. Go and join those volunteering organizations as a way of trying to build your reference portfolio and experience as well. So I'll see you in my next one, guys. That's all I had for you in this video. Bye.